Hey there, Melanie Benson Strick here. Let's talk about overwhelm because I'm sure as an entrepreneur that you've had the experience where you feel like overwhelm and growing your business kind of feels like the same thing. So recently I got booked to do a talk about how to scale your business and really exponentially increase your income without getting stuck in overwhelm. And I asked the conference producer, I said, so what exactly is the big overwhelm for your people? Like, where do you think they get stuck? And she said, well, most of them actually really have a big vision, but the gap between the where they are now and the vision is so big. It's so astronomical that they get completely overwhelmed trying to pull it off. So let's talk about it. I get a lot of questions about that, and maybe you have questions too. How can I really grow my business or maybe even just take it to the next level from where I'm at now and do it in a way where I don't feel so overwhelmed that I want to throw in the towel and not do it? And so I'm going to go back to something that comes up over and over and over again. You have to understand what triggers your overwhelm because we're not all built the same. We're not all designed the same. So what overwhelms me isn't necessarily going to be what overwhelms you. And what overwhelms some of my clients may not be the same thing that you face. So we have to really look at what is the thing that gets you into overwhelm. Now, I'm running a survey right now on my website asking people just like you, what is the single biggest cause of your overwhelm? And I would love it if you would jump in and let me know your thoughts because I'm putting some resources together and I'll be sharing them with you over the next couple weeks to help entrepreneurs really be able to take their business to the next level without getting stuck in the overwhelm. So I'll share that link with you in a minute. I'll put it on the thread here in a minute. It's a little hard to do when I'm on my mobile device, so I'll come back and put it there in a minute. But here's what I've heard so far from people that have taken the survey. They've told me that one of the things that gets them really overwhelmed is knowing how. Okay, so how do I get from where I'm at now to what I need to be, what all the things I need to do to get where I'm at? And it reminds me of this story of somebody I worked with a long time ago. They used to set these really crazy, unrealistic goals for themselves. Like, I'm gonna paint this whole house in like an hour, right? And I used to say, why do you set yourself up to fail every single time? And he used to say, well, if I tell myself the truth about what something's really going to take, I'll never do it because it'll feel too overwhelming. So I don't know, do you relate to that one? Do you ever kind of ask yourself, why do I set these crazy unrealistic goals for myself? It's because I want to believe it's going to take less time than it actually does, because once I'm in it and I have to finish. Well, actually, that's one of the ways that we cause ourselves to get overwhelmed is we take on way more than we can handle and we set unrealistic time frames for ourselves. And then we try to cram all this stuff into a time that we don't really have, and then we're feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. So that's definitely one of the ways that people tell me that they get overwhelmed. It's one of the big things I've heard on the questionnaire about what gets you into overwhelm. Another thing though, and this actually happens for a lot of people that are already building successful businesses, and that is that they've got too much on their plate, even though it's all good stuff. These are all great opportunities. These are all things that that you want to be doing, but there's too many good things, and you can't decide between which of all these opportunities, ideas, projects, tasks, and activities that you want to be doing, you should be doing, or could be doing. So really it becomes a part of prioritizing and how do I make choices for what I should say yes to. So is that one of the things that maybe comes up for you? Another overwhelm trigger is, and this is really in the mindset realm, has to do with what we tell ourselves. We tell ourselves we should be doing all of these things, and then we don't do all of these things, and we're left feeling less than, and as if there's something wrong with us that we haven't gotten all these things done on our list. So the stories we make up in our mind, like what we tell ourselves in our thoughts, is actually what's creating the overwhelm, which is something that we can train ourselves to do better and differently in the future. So I'm kind of curious, do you know what actually triggers your overwhelm? Or do you just know that you do get overwhelmed? Another thing that comes up for a lot of people is you have to do a lot of things that really aren't in your wheelhouse. They're not really the things that you enjoy doing. So when you have to do them, they exhaust you, they deplete you. It makes you feel not very excited and ready to go conquer the world. And for some people, that translates to overwhelm. You feel overwhelmed with all the tasks and activities you think you should do to grow. So there's a lot of different things that can create the overwhelm. So what happens when you are overwhelmed? What do you do? Well, I've got a resource I'm going to share with you in a couple of days. It's not quite done yet, and it's going to be customized to some of the things you tell me about your overwhelm. And you can actually just do a quick shout out here and just put it in the comments. What are the things that you get most overwhelmed about in your business? One of the things that comes up for a lot of my clients who are actually growing and evolving to having a team is they're hiring people that are not the best people to have on their team, and then they're really frustrated and disappointed in the results they're getting with them. So they get overwhelmed by having to stay on top of them and micromanage them to get results. And really, the fundamental issue is they've actually hired people that really aren't going to take ownership of the role. They've actually just produced a whole bunch of activity that you have to manage them to get done. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, wouldn't it be just easier if I did it myself? Exactly. But it's because you're not using the right strategies to grow your team. So what I guess I'm saying here is that overwhelm happens for a lot of different reasons. And most of these reasons are things that we kind of do unwittingly, but if we used a better approach, we wouldn't actually get such overwhelm, exhaustion, stress, frustration. And it all goes back down to having the right mindset, making better choices, and using strategies designed to help exponentially grow your business. So one of the big questions I get asked all the time is, Melanie, it's so overwhelming just trying to produce the level of income I'm creating right now. How on earth can I actually see myself getting any bigger than I am right now without working more? Which translates to overwhelm, right? You can see that. So this is where we have to start looking at better, more effective strategies. We have to start evaluating, are the things that you're doing right now working? Are they getting you the results you want? And one of the big things we have to evaluate is, are our business models designed to grow for exponential revenues without putting more energy in or building really big teams that you don't want to manage anyway? So this is where leverage comes in. So one of the things that you might be evaluating is, are there some leverage strategies that I could be using to get more results but not have to put more hours and more effort into those results? You could actually reduce them. I was actually just interviewing somebody today for the Power Up podcast, and we were talking about how in order to exponentially grow her impact, she had to change her business model from one-to-one coaching to one-to-many coaching, and how actually it was so much easier in the end to deliver that kind of a training and to be able to impact so many more people by leveraging her time and her talent. So what we have to look at is, what's the right strategy for you? Now, a lot of people ask me, so what do I need to do if I'm overwhelmed? What's the first thing that I can do to kind of take the overwhelm and translate or transition out of feeling overwhelmed all the time? Because I can't imagine adding anything else to my list when I have so much overwhelm already. Well, it's different for everybody, but one of the things I can say for sure is you actually have to shift your approach. You have to decide that you don't want to be overwhelmed anymore. And you have to figure out, what are you doing that triggers that overwhelm, and then create a better solution. And one of the things every single entrepreneur I've ever worked with over the last 15 years has benefited from is creating space. So that might sound crazy to you because it's the thing you have the least of, and you can't even in your mind imagine how you're going to create space when you have so much to accomplish. I'll tell you what I told a friend of mine who I was coaching at the time around how he could create some space. Look for little spaces of time that you can create that'll boost your energy and cause you to feel more rejuvenated when you come back. So I had him taking 20-minute lunches because he would never take a lunch break. He would only just eat at his desk, power through his food, and go back, which again creates more stress. And I had him taking at least a half day off on the weekends. And believe me, he totally resisted this in the beginning. But ultimately, he realized I was saving his business and his marriage and his life by helping him learn to prioritize taking time away from the business. And what happened for him was he could see his options clearly. He could make better choices. He had a better point of view. Like his perspective would clear up. And he just had a more renewed sense of excitement and optimism when he'd come back. His problems wouldn't look as big when he came back with a fresh perspective. So let's figure out what that's going to look like for you. How can you take a little bit of space in your day, prioritize some you time, prioritize some recharge time? Okay, I don't know what it is for you, but decide something has to change, create space, and make that your standard for success. I have had a standard for my business for the last 10 years that I work less than a 30-hour week. Now, sometimes I choose to work a little bit more because I'm excited about something, or there's just the nature of a project that we're working on. I put some more hours in, or I'm traveling for work. But as a rule, I pretty much work 4 days a week. And I don't work past 6 o'clock at night. And I never check my emails at night. And if I'm on social media, it's because I'm having fun and I'm playing. So I have a rule that I will get all of my work done, and I will make decisions and prioritize what I will commit to so that it fits inside the lifestyle, the space that I want to have for me. Because for me, having a life is the single most important thing I hold near and dear to my heart. It's the single most important thing that I value and I treasure the most, is time truly connecting with other people. And to do that, I have to design my business to deliver what I need it to deliver so I can live that. What that means is I need space in my day-to-day life. I need space to create, I need space to think, I need space to recharge, and I need space to do what I treasure most, which is connect and bond with other people. So I have a schedule that I keep where I time chunk and I create a really, really valuable system for what gets my time and attention. And that helps me use my time more wisely. It helps me prioritize, and it helps me stay out of overwhelm. And I know if I'm getting into overwhelm, if I'm sliding into that feeling where my head is spinning and I kind of have to brace myself, it's like, okay, I need to just breathe, right? If I'm in that space, I know I'm getting out of where I should really be spending my time and energy. I'm getting into something that's triggering where I don't really want to be in business. And I have to take a step back, create some space, and evaluate, is this really where we want to be? And if so, is the way I'm doing it causing me overwhelm or not? So I know I'm getting into a little bit of the solution, and it's hopefully giving you some ideas about how you too can shift out of overwhelm and create a thriving business. Ultimately, it boils down to one thing. Decide you're worth it. Decide that you will be someone who has a thriving business and that you don't have to do it under overwhelm all the time. Choose a different energy that you're going to create your business from. Ease and grace, feeling effortless, more peace. Decide you will have it, and then let's figure out what's triggering that overwhelm and come up with a better strategy to get out of the way. All right, so I'll post that link on the survey. You want to pop in here and let me know where your overwhelm comes from. I'll do my best to give you some ideas and answers and solutions about how to stay out of overwhelm or replace it with some more effective strategies. And stay tuned in to a great free resource that'll be coming your way shortly. All right, it's been fun connecting with you today. I look forward to being a spark and hopefully some inspiration to replace that overwhelm and maybe way too slow growth for what you're putting into your business with some much more effective strategies to make a greater impact, greater income, and have a heck of a lot more fun running your business. See you again next Thursday for another Power Up session. Bye now.